Welcome to the Perfectionist Guide to Mothering. I'm Andrea Fortenberry, and I'm here to help you break up with perfectionism, unrealistic expectations, and mom guilt to enjoy motherhood and love this one and only beautiful life God has given you. In these episodes, we will be real, vulnerable, and have fun too. My hope is that you will walk away encouraged and equipped for the hard and amazing work of motherhood. Welcome to episode 137 of the Perfectionist Guide to Mothering. Before we dive into our content for today, I just wanted to remind you that my book, 2-Minute Timeouts for New Moms, releases on April 7th. So exactly 2 months from when this podcast comes out. And I'm so excited. It is exciting. It feels surreal all at the same time. And it's interesting because not only am I launching a book this spring, but I'm also launching my oldest child from high school, and she'll be going to college, and it is a very full and busy season for me. But at the same time, God knew this is when the timing was going to align. And I hope that you will pre-order through Amazon and it will arrive on your doorstep or mailbox on April the 7th. And then think about the fact that Mother's Day is just around the corner after that. So if you have moms that you want to give some gifts to, 2-minute timeouts would make a great gift. And yes, in the title, it is 2-minute timeouts for new moms, but I truly feel that every mom is a new mom in every season and stage, right? I feel like just as I get things down, things change and it all feels new again. So I really believe that every mom who reads it will find some encouragement for wherever she is in her journey. So it was a labor of love to put it together, and I'm so excited for you to have your hands on it. So like I said, I will put the link in the show notes for you so you can grab your copy, get it in your cart, and you won't have to worry about ordering it later. It'll just come to your doorstep. And I'm, again, just so grateful to be able to release this book into the world, and I can't wait for you to see it. Okay, when I was thinking about content for today, I have felt very overwhelmed this week, truth be told. I'm juggling a lot, and actually a question that I get semi-often from people is, how do you do all the things that you do? And I always respond with, by the grace of God is how I do it all. And I also feel like I am a high capacity person, that God wired me that way. I love having lots of projects and things to do, and it's kind of hard for me to rest sometimes. So I feel like I thrive when I have a lot to do. But this week I was really feeling it with just life things at home. Again, having a senior, getting some things taken care of that we need to for that, working on my book launch, and then I have a full-time job. I have this podcast, and then I also am working on another fun new project, more details to come later. But it was a lot this week. And so I was thinking about that question, how do I do all the things I do? And as I was feeling overwhelmed, I was making a list of really going back to basics of what I do and just some productivity practices and rhythms that I have that help me, that I thought I would share with you, because I think you will find them helpful as well. As moms, we all have a lot going on all the time, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or you are a working mom or a combo of the two. There's always so much to do, and that mental load of all the things that we're keeping track of, it's a lot. And so if we can find ways to be more strategic, shortcuts we can take, things that we can delegate or ask for help with, it will not only bless our family that we're taking care of, but it blesses us. And when we are doing well and thriving and not feeling overwhelmed all the time, it is better for everyone around us. Am I right? So today's episode will probably be short and sweet because truth be told, I'm recording this on a Saturday evening, and this is not normally when I release episodes or record things, but I mentioned it has been a week, and so this is when I'm able to fit in the time to do this. So I'm going to give you these 12 practices, and again, I hope you find them helpful, and then afterward, I'm going to start my Sabbath rest time with my family. Okay, so first tip I have for you to help us be productive is to take care of yourself and your soul every day. You've heard the analogy about being on the plane with the oxygen mask, right? That we have to put on our oxygen mask before we help anyone else with theirs. And this is the same principle with the self and soul care every day. And sometimes when we hear those words, we think, oh, a day at the spa, a weekend away. And yes, those are things we can do towards self and soul care, but I'm talking like micro things we can do every day that help us to be the best versions of ourselves. So some of those things for me are reading my Bible in the morning, and that has looked different to me in the various stages of my life. When I had little kids, it was maybe reading a verse, or I had a little devotional like perpetual calendar, or reading a verse that was on a post-it note. Like that's what it looked like. And now that I'm farther ahead and my kids are older and are gone to school really, really early, I have more of a leisurely time. Or if you have littles at home who are napping, maybe it's during your nap time, right? So fit this into your life and your schedule. But for me, that's a practice I have is I get up in the morning and I read my Bible for a little bit. Other forms of self and soul care are listening to positive music and podcasts, being aware of the inputs that we have in our lives, things that we watch, things that we read, and identifying what helps us feel our best and what helps us not feel our best. And so we want to avoid the things that don't make us feel great. Maybe that's social media doom scrolling, right? But be mindful of those things. And again, when we are cared for, even in small micro moments throughout our days and weeks, it helps us to feel more energized and confident and again, able to care for others well because we have cared for ourselves. And it's not selfish, it's actually really wise. Okay, second thing is to make your chores as enjoyable as possible. I like to think of little mini rewards that I can give myself throughout the process. So, one of the things that I reward myself with is the cleaning products I use. I love Mrs. Meyer's products. I'm sure I've said this over the many years of doing this podcast. So I buy like the scents that I really like so that when I'm washing my dishes or like spraying my countertops down, it's like a lovely, refreshing scent. I love so many of them. Mint is my favorite. Like general time of year, but I change them out seasonally. But I actually just switched from more of my winter scents over to mint because it's just so delightful. So it could be that for you. It could be that you are listening to your favorite podcast, which I hope this is one of them, while you are folding your laundry or mopping your floors. Maybe it's that you eat a little piece of chocolate when you're done with your chore, folding your laundry, whatever that looks like for you. And I have loved lately True Fruit. Have you tried this? I have some in my drawer right here. It'll make a loud sound if I open it, but the strawberry and the raspberry are so good. So lately that has been a little reward for myself when I get some work done. I have just a couple little pieces of that. So think about for you, how can you make it as enjoyable as possible? You could also create a playlist. I have several different playlists, like a happy playlist and a Zumba playlist that's like, energizing, like pump it up kind of music that it doesn't feel like sweeping my floor or vacuuming is as much of a chore when I add a little bit of fun into it. So that's the second tip, is make it as enjoyable as possible. Third productivity tip is to do a load of laundry every day. I was actually just talking about this with a girlfriend last night that, this weekend, things we needed to do. And she talked about how she had so much laundry to catch up on. I actually do too, because I've gotten away from this a little bit, just truth be told, because of busy schedule. But this is generally something that I do, is one load of laundry every day. And I do it start to finish. Like I throw it in the washer, put it in the dryer, and then I fold everything and hang everything up. And little trick with this that has just been a lifesaver is set a timer for when the washer and dryer are supposed to be done. And that means that I'm coming to the dryer like shortly after it's finishing, and That means the clothes are not super wrinkled yet. As I pull them out, I can hang them up and they're not wrinkly, and I'm not digging through baskets of wrinkled clothes and having to iron or steam or wear wrinkled clothes. So that has been great. Do a load every day. It feels productive. It's just one load. Then you don't have a mountain to tackle at another time. And then also accompanied with this laundry tip is to have your kids start doing their own laundry. My kids were like in third or fourth grade when I started having them do their own laundry and making them responsible for that. And it has just been a game changer. Like if they need a sports shirt or uniform or whatever, it's on them. I don't get blamed. Like they're responsible for it. And it does take some time to teach them like what the different cycles are. Here's how much soap you put. Here's when you use, softener or that kind of thing. But it's just a game changer and takes it off of my plate. So teach your kids to do their laundry. If they can operate a Nintendo Switch or an iPad or a phone, they can operate a washer and dryer, right? Right. Okay, next one. I already kind of mentioned this, but use timers and alarms. I use timers for just about everything. Laundry. Lately, now that I have been making sourdough bread, I have several different alarms and timers for that. Screen time for your kids. I remember when my kids were little, I would tell them, okay, 10 more minutes and we need to turn it off. And then I would go get lost in something and come back 30 minutes later, and their definition of 10 minutes was a lot longer because I lost track. So eventually I thought, oh, you know what? I could set a timer on the microwave so that it will continue to go off even if I'm in the other room. And sometimes they would be like, okay, mommy, the timer's going off. Or I would hear it and like, okay, it's been 10 minutes already. So that has been super helpful. And then I love with my iPhone that you can actually label different timers and alarms, and it's just helpful. And this is really great for if your kids have recurring events throughout the week that they need to be picked up for, or a time that you need to leave your house to get to practice. You can create an alarm for specific days of the week and it will just go off. For my son, he has track practice certain days, Monday through Thursday, and gets out at a certain time. So I set an alarm to pick him up and know when I need to leave. And it's just super helpful. Again, it kind of automates and takes some of that mental load out of your brain and puts it onto your smartphone to do it for you. So use timers and alarms. Next productivity tip is to delegate. This is super hard sometimes because we prefer things done a certain way. We think it's easier if we do things a certain way, but we are not the only ones who can do the things, right? Whether that is loading the dishwasher or cooking dinner or doing laundry. We're not the only ones who can do those things. So it's actually really wise when we delegate things. I think the phrase goes, a burden shared is a burden halved, right? Like if it takes even a little bit off of your plate and your mental overwhelm, it's helpful. And even if your kiddos don't load the dishwasher the same way as you, as long as dirty dishes get in there and it gets started, they get cleaned, right? So that's the goal. Not necessarily is it A plus, but is it good enough, right? Is it a B? Is it a C even, right? Like that's passing. That'll get the job done. So let's learn to let go a little bit and entrust other people to help. And that could even be hired help that you have, a cleaner or someone to manage your lawn outside. If you are able, delegate, and it takes it off of your plate from having to do so much. Okay, next tip I have for you is notice your energy highs and lows and honor those. We all have a little bit different of wiring and a rhythm. Some people are really productive in the morning. Some people are more productive in the afternoon. So plan your days and weeks accordingly. So if you have errands that you need to run, and I find that running errands takes a lot of energy, right? Especially in those years for those of you that are taking baby carriers and strollers and toddlers, like that takes a lot of energy. So maybe in the morning is the best time for you. Or maybe it's in the afternoon after the kids have had a nap and you've had time to rest and you kind of have a second wind. So think about that. Think about if you are someone who enjoys reading or writing or being creative, when are the best times for you to do that? And try to create as best you can a rhythm to honor those times when you find yourself most productive to do those things. Okay, next productivity tip is to keep a stocked pantry. Isn't it just the worst when it's 5 o'clock or 5:30 and everybody's hungry and you didn't come up with a plan because you're winging it, right? And that's a lot of us a lot of the time. So if you have items that are already on hand, you can whip up something quickly instead of having to order delivery or run to the store. You can just kind of create a quick meal from the staples that you have in your pantry. If you can also keep the freezer stocked with meat and protein that you can have, keep the fridge stocked with eggs and milk, right? I feel like in some seasons I'm better at this than others. And in some seasons I've been better at meal planning and like having a plan. But other seasons we're just winging it. And so if you have things on hand like pasta and rice and maybe tortillas, those things will just help. You can have quesadillas at night or sandwiches, or you have canned soup and make a salad, right? Like just think about what are some staples that everybody likes? What can you whip up quickly and then keep those things stocked in your pantry? Pasta sauce, right? Mac and cheese, easy things that you can grab if you don't have a plan, which it's okay to not have a plan sometimes. So no pressure on that. Next one, prioritize sleep. This is so hard because I remember when my kids were little, they would go to bed and then I would want time with my husband for us to relax and hang out. And then it just felt like we needed to go to bed so soon after the kids went to bed. And now that our kids are teenagers, they stay up later than us sometimes. And it's just so weird. We found in different seasons, just not getting enough sleep because we wanted the time to relax instead, or we're watching TV. And I know that temptation is real to stay up and watch one more episode, but it can set us up on this cycle of being sleep deprived, which means we wake up in the morning and we just feel like we are not rested, we're grumpy, we're not at our best, and then that carries over into the next day. So it's okay to watch Netflix, just don't watch 5 episodes and try to get to sleep on time. Or again, if you are a stay-at-home mom, take a nap when your kids are napping. That counts as sleep too. Okay, next tip is to batch your tasks and your errands. Think about what could you together batching things that would make you a little more productive. So say you are cutting up vegetables for salad one night and you notice there's a container of strawberries that nobody has eaten in the drawer next to the vegetables. Well, grab those, wash them, cut them up, and then put them in the fridge so that they're there, right? You've batched that task together. And just a side note, I have found that kids will eat fruits and veggies if they are clean and cut up and they can just grab them. I have had too many pieces of produce go to die because nobody wants to wash them and cut them up. But in seasons where I do that, it all gets eaten within the first 2 days. So that's just one example of batching some tasks. You could batch your errands too. Like maybe one particular day is when you take care of, different grocery errands that you have, or needing to go to ship items or buy things, or think about how you can group and batch to be most productive so that you're not having to run in and out of the house multiple times, unless you enjoy that, because some of you might enjoy that. So just thinking about how can you batch things together. And I even try when I'm running errands to be really strategic about the route that I take so that I'm not backtracking and just spending more time driving than is necessary. I kind of map it out and know, okay, I can make a right turn here and then I'll loop around and make a right turn there instead of turning left. So maybe that's weird, but I just think it helps me to be more productive and efficient. Okay. Next tip is to use your margins. We all have pockets of time during our day when we can tackle something, and we often underestimate the power of 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, pick your increment, but it's tempting to be like, oh, I only have a couple minutes, I'll just jump on Instagram. Well, did you know that in 5 minutes you could read a couple pages of a book? You could clean out your junk drawer. You could unload the dishwasher, whatever that is. Use the margins to do things for either productivity, like getting things done off your to-do list, or for pleasure as well. I mentioned reading a book. We often, again, underestimate, and especially those of us with that perfectionistic mindset, we think, oh, I can't do XYZ because I don't have 2 hours or a whole day to do it. It's amazing what we can get done in a short amount of time. And actually, it's more helpful if we take something big and break it into smaller pieces. So, for example, yesterday I got up and my kids were getting ready to go to school. I'm making my tea. They left. I'm waiting for the water to steep and for it to cool down a little bit. And as I was waiting, I thought, you know what? I have been wanting to tackle this one set of cabinets in our kitchen that has like all of our baking stuff. So as I spent the 3 to 4 minutes waiting, I just opened up that drawer and started going through, throwing out like baking mixes that were old. And then I wiped down the cabinet because it was dusty and had some crumbs. And I did that in like 5 minutes. Whereas it had been weighing on me like, oh, you need to do this. And every time I would open it and stuff would fall out. And it just is amazing how much you can sometimes get done in the margins of your life. Again, it doesn't have to be a gigantic project that you spend a whole day on, because sometimes as moms, we don't have that time. But what could you do? What little mini baby steps could you take to get something done in the margins of your life? Or again, for pleasure as well, to enjoy some of the things that you love. Like if you love to bake, but you don't get around to it a lot, you could measure out the ingredients in 5 minutes when you're waiting for your kids to go to school, and then you come back later and mix it up and put it in the oven, right? Like you can break things into smaller pieces in those margin moments of your day and your week. Okay, we're rounding out the last two here. This one is use time at your kids' practices to be productive. So that could mean that you go for a walk while you're at the park and they're practicing. That means you could bring a book with you or listen to a podcast or think about things you enjoy. Could you bring a coloring book or a cross stitch kit or your crochet needles? The thing that I most often have done when my kids are practicing is I bring work with me. Again, back to that question of like, how do I do all the things I do? I am often using those margins, those moments in my day to get some work done. So many a times I have taken my laptop or a notebook and spent the time doing some work. And there have been times when I drop the kids off and I go to the nearest Starbucks and come back. I especially did that when my daughter was playing volleyball because I tried to go into the gym to watch and be on my laptop, but it was crazy loud with all the bouncing volleyballs, and then volleyballs are flying in every direction. And so I didn't want to get whacked in the head. So I would go to Starbucks, but I would use the time that my kids were at activities to either be productive with work or be productive with recreation of some kind. Hobbies are important for us moms. We need to do the things that we enjoy, even if it's in short little moments. So think about what that could be for you. And if your kids are in activities, think about what you could bring with you or do during that time that would help you to feel productive, to feel like you. And I think you will enjoy that time a little bit more. Okay, and here's the last tip I have for you, and it is to overestimate how much time you need to spend on a task. Because when we underestimate how long something will take, it makes us feel stressed. And conversely, overestimating means that if we finish earlier, we have some margin we could use to tackle something else or to spend a quiet moment reading a page of a book or just breathing, right? Like just sitting and having margin is such a gift. I have often been the queen of like one more thing. Instead of taking a moment of margin to just sit or like get somewhere early, I'm like, oh, I can unload the dishwasher real quick or one more thing. And then I end up running late. So overestimate how long something will take you helps you to be a little more realistic about things. It gives you margin on the other side, and just be careful with the margin that, again, you don't take on too many things in the meantime. Having moments of margin is really helpful for you to not feel so overwhelmed and stressed, and then also for your kids as well, because sometimes unexpected things happen. No one can find their shoes or their backpack or whatever that is, and having margin is just really, really helpful. So when you overestimate and have a little bit of extra time, it's breathing room and an opportunity to just have a little bit more of a peaceful day, which helps me to feel productive as I am tackling the things on my to-do list. So I hope you enjoyed those 12 tips for you. So I'll go over them really quickly. Spend time in self and soul care every day. Make chores as enjoyable as possible. Do a load of laundry every day. Use timers and alarms. Delegate. Notice your energy highs and lows and honor them. Keep a stocked pantry. Prioritize sleep. Batch your tasks and errands. Use the margins. Use your kids' practices to be productive, and then overestimate how long something will take you so that you will have a little bit of margin. Well, friends, I hope you found that helpful. I hope you lean into the rhythms that will help you to be your best and not to be productive for the sake of being productive. But again, as moms, we have so much to do and so many things that we are responsible for. So it will help us be productive and feel more at peace and have more joy as we are taking care of our families. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending time with me during these episodes. I think about you and pray for you, and I'll look forward to next time we're together.